Hello everybody, this is Eric McLeod.
And I'm Chris Holden.
And you are watching Low Blow Radio here on YouTube and listening to wherever we put this up and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, this is Low Blow Radio. We're going to do a bit of a blow-by-blow discussion of the AEW Dynamite from last night. It's Thursday, March the 26th. 25th, sorry. Yes, I'm going to say I'm getting my days confused because once again we do multiple days here in the studio, so we can get a little confusing there. But yes, nonetheless, it was today's the 25th. Yesterday was the 24th, and it was Dynamite. A decent episode, not a like jam-packed crazy one, but worth discussion nonetheless.
Sure, we're in the realms of storytelling, getting things fleshed out for the next mega event that's coming along.
I would say so.
And stories are building all over the place right now. I think Kenny's really 2 toes at least over there in Impact Wrestling right now.
Yeah.
But still had this deal with Seidel, so that was something for him.
Yeah,
Several things like that.
For sure. No, I think we'll jump into things as we run through the different card stuff. But yeah, as Chris had mentioned there, we kicked off with Kenny Omega taking on Matt Seidel in the opening match. This was sort of coming off of the build from AEW Evolution. I get that wrong every time I do my Eric After Dark reviews. It's not Evolution, it is Evolution, not...
No, it is Revolution. Evolution was the women's pay-per-view.
Elevation, then. That
Elevation is the show for
show.
Dark, yeah.
I get this wrong every time. Yes.
Paul White screwed up that name as well.
Yes, and so do I. I get it wrong every time, and I have to stop and start the recording. I'm not doing that here for everybody. I'm going to keep getting it wrong. But no, Elevation is the name of the Dark show, and on the first episode, it had a encounter between Kenny and Seidel that sort of set up this matchup, and Tony Khan making it take place here on this Dynamite.
Sparking Tony Khan becoming the evil Tony Khan character.
Yes, more so
Mr.
of that.
Tony Khan.
Yeah, and seeing that appearance on that Dark show and leading into their paid advertisement on Impact this week, and then leading into this match to kick off the show here. And the stipulation kind of being if Matt Seidel was able to get a victory over Kenny Omega, he would earn himself a shot at the AEW Championship as well.
That stipulation, did that lead you to believe that Seidel had a decent chance of winning and like more likely he's going to win to set up that next match? Or did you feel going into this it might as well have been a title match because he wasn't going to win it?
I was fine with that because it at least gave some stakes to making you think a little bit more in those close calls. Because again, you feel like the writing was on the wall that it doesn't make sense for Kenny to take a loss right now. Maybe in a opportunity where he isn't giving the guy enough credit or something like that, caught off guard, whichever. You could maybe get away with trying to push the story there. But no, I think, just having that at least gave you some cadence to Matt Seidel potentially maybe getting a win. And then with so many close calls, it definitely made it a more exciting match to have that stipulation.
Yeah, give me that sense of I'm not sure what's actually going to happen here. I thought because the way Callis was playing it on commentary that they were very much underestimating Matt Seidel, the youngster, this great new up-and-comer who's isn't he a little older than Kenny?
Yeah, I think they're their same age, as Albert was saying,
But I thought that, along with the way that Kenny was playing it, he was underestimating him somewhat. I anticipated John Moxley or Eddie Kingston coming out, cracking him one behind the referee's back, and Seidel getting the pinfall win here.
Oh, right.
In a very cheap win, but nonetheless a win to set up that next match, at which point then he's shown to have not a chance against the champion. But I have no problem with it. Like you say, it suspended my thing of being so sure of what was going to happen in this match. Was very much up in the air through it. So I thought it was great. Like worked for me that way.
Especially that counter off the One-Winged Angel. It was just like, oh, this could be that perfect moment where he knows the One-Winged Angel's coming.
Sure.
Kenny's maybe going for it too early or too,
two or three little things that he did to get himself out of it, right?
Yeah,
which were nice.
Was very well aware of his in-ring points at those moments there to sort of capitalize on Kenny in the right time. And it certainly got kind of close, and then Kenny would get more aggravated when he caught him into the buckle bomb. That was fantastic.
That was a nasty looking buckle bomb too.
It's always
taken.
Always a tricky one to end up having them take there. But no, this really was a fire opener and definitely elevated Matt Seidel to make you excited for his next matchup for sure, if nothing else.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It didn't do anything to hurt either guy. Elevated him. Callis on commentary was great.
I think
that
has
extra story amongst those guys
definitely has to be. I think the new staple too for every. As much as I like him ringside too for Kenny matches, I think him on commentary for every Kenny match should just be the new kind of thing too for the Kenny character. He definitely helps, just evolve the whole presence of seeing the world champion, and then you have Callis on commentary as well. Yeah, it just adds an extra layer. that I definitely enjoy seeing. So the next matchup, though, we had Hangman Page taking on Cesar Bononi in a bit of a squash match, but a reverse style because due to the size difference.
Yes.
Usually the way it goes. Usually if you're squashing somebody, they're a lot smaller than you are, but this was neat to see the reverse of that. Is Bononi quite bigger than Hangman Page, but he was able to dominate him in this matchup.
Yeah, and not much else to say past that. I mean, it's what we want to see with Hangman. Keep him in their spotlight.
Yeah.
Keep him in the picture.
Don't
let him lose.
Yeah, and if anything else, from Dark, they've learned how to do these squash matches right. Like, just enough time, just enough to get their moveset over, and makes Hangman look really, really strong going forward.
I'm not bored by them, despite the fact that we get one of these pretty much on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
I haven't been put off by this yet. It's been a nice mixture of the people in the matches. Has been the same guy always getting crushed. It's not always the same person getting the win that way. So, no, I'm happy with the way they're booking these.
Yeah, especially for Page, keeping him. If he's not in a huge, heavy storyline right now, he's kind of peripherally around a lot of different feuds. So, yeah.
But he's well on the
Getting
radar.
wins is good. Yeah. So that,
and got to be winning, yeah.
Keeping him in that shuffle is always great. We had an interview session with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, as she was interviewed by Tony Schiavone about her amazing main event from last weekend, putting over, the match there with Thunder Rosa. And then, she's certainly leaning into the heel side of things here and cut a great promo once again.
Yeah, I thought it was a good promo. I'd hate to be Mick Foley.
Yeah, you say, I'm sure a little burned by took you 20 years to get a hardcore legend, and I did it in a day.
Well, gee, I was nice to you, Britt. What the...
I was nice and gave you a thumbs up, but apparently that doesn't do much in the people for
not
these
for
days,
dentists.
I suppose. Yeah.
Dentists take things differently.
We had two different six-man tag matches tonight, and the first one was the Hollywood Blondes teaming with Dante Martin of Top Flight to take on the Pinnacle. I'm still pronouncing
the pineapple.
The pineapple, the pickle, the precipice, the principal, whichever they choose to be called. It is the Pinnacle. One of these days, maybe I will get that down for this team. But a nice kind of debut for this new faction.
Yeah, I thought it worked out well. My overriding theme for the thing with the two trios matches, particularly the way they announced them both as trios matches. They've been doing that for a bit now. Do you feel we're any closer to trios titles, and that's why? Is it teasy, right? Or am I reading too much into it?
I think I'm reading the same amount into it. It feels that it feels inevitable, and maybe they just want to make sure that it doesn't feel out of the blue, right? To all of a sudden have people teaming in three sets. They have been doing this quite more frequently, and it feels like it's leaning towards maybe a tournament or titles actually making a debut. And
I loved the setup of FTR with Shawn Spears. I think they looked good together, and perfect usage for the team in all of the right facets, like having Spears be the guy that he sold a lot more and ate a lot more of the moves from the rookies. Yeah. But also he was the one that claimed the pin at the end. And that finish, the move that they did, where they threw him up into the air and Spears caught him.
Yeah, into the C4 Death Valley driver. Just real solid finish.
Nice and fluent. It looked good. There was no dropping. There were no near botches of anything, which is going to stand out more since it was the first time. Yeah. So I really liked that. I thought they looked great.
Yeah, for sure. I think, good to have Spears be the focus as well as the grit of FTR in this. And Dante Martin definitely getting some high spots, and they were great to see from such a great young competitor. And again, not to always harp on WWE or some of this stuff, but just a nice thing where we know that Darius is hurt, and it's nice that they're at least still featuring Dante in storylines and stuff like that. Like, there's no reason for Top Flight to completely disappear, right, from everything else. They might as well utilize them in the right sense.
And when Christian was talking to those guys before, right? That was that trio that he was talking to in the night, and he brought up specifically, how's your brother? Yeah. I'm looking forward to meeting him as well. So the same thing. We're not going to just pretend this guy doesn't exist because he's not on television.
For sure.
We're going to keep reminding you of him, which is probably what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, it seems like the normal thing to do. I'm not sure where that must have happened before this match though, where Christian had met up backstage with them, kind of doing a backstage kind of conversation with them, some camaraderie there as he's getting to know
some helpful hints.
Yeah, the young
friendly
locker room,
advice,
especially for being a bit of a tag team specialist as he is. He could give some advice to these younger guys there, and then he was confronted by Frankie Kazarian.
Yeah, really interesting. I was along the same as you. We'd been discussing this earlier. Both kind of trying to figure out what former WWE guys are going to be first paired with, or how are they going to avoid doing that or doing that.
Because it made the most sense after 7 years, right? That someone he'd be more comfortable with, that he would get in the ring with first.
And I'd completely forgotten about the time in TNA. I mean, I hadn't forgotten about it, but I hadn't put two and two together of the guys he was there with. And him and Frankie is just as much a natural pairing as him and Cody would have been.
You automatically think of the AJs, the Samoa Joes that were the top up-and-comers at that time over there, but you forget that Kazarian was doing the same thing, and Christopher Daniels in the company in that same vein. So, yeah, great other kind of use for the history that Christian Cage has, and for that reference point, because I'm sure there is a bunch of TNA fans that have come over or at least seen the Christian Cage character and would remember Kazarian from that time as well. So, looking forward to think they'll put on a good, solid matchup. The only weird thing is it's not... Like, I get on paper it makes sense because, again, you have to sort of... It's been 7 years since Christian wrestled. He should probably get in there and wrestle someone he's comfortable with, not a, like... Again, I'm sure him and Dante Martin could have a great matchup, but it's not like... He doesn't probably want to put all that on a 19-year-old either to be like, hey, this is my first match after 7 years, kid. Let's figure out what happens. Like, he should probably get in there with someone he's a little more comfortable with. So I get that, where you kind of have to get this first one out of the way before you get Christian with the younger guys that you want to see him sort of elevating. I
think so. It's gonna... Well, again, we talked about this before we started doing the show. I agreed. Exactly on the same vein. You've brought him in to try to help train your young up-and-comers and help them out and show them things. If you're covered in ring rust, you can't remember what you're supposed to do yourself, you got to shake that off first.
For
so
sure.
It makes sense they're going to warm him back into that role.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, for sure. All for that. So
I think that's going to be a good match. I'm looking forward to that next week.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Excited for that to be the first appearance for Christian Cage, and Kazarian definitely shown to be a great, worthy opponent for these older guys. Anyway, next trios match, we had the Young Bucks teaming with their cameraman Brandon Cutler from BTE. He also wrestles here on AEW, mostly on the dark shows, but they were taking on the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid returning from AAA. He hasn't been seen on AEW since the original All Out or All In.
So, yeah.
So it's been quite a while since having him featured on AEW, and never been on Dynamite for sure, and then filling the spot for Pac, who is unfortunately injured right now.
Yeah, great match, really fast-paced, high action. This could have been the opener for the speed and what we're used to seeing in that spot of the night.
True.
But yeah, fine match. All the good stuff that we're used to seeing from these guys with the fast moving back and forth. And just
especially since there
kicks
wasn't...
and leggy slaps galore.
Yeah, and there wasn't a ton of it in the other 6-man, so it was good that they were very different. The other one was a little bit more of a standard tag with a third person that just had an extra element there.
More of the wrestling, too. This was less of the wrestling, more of the showmanship that we're used to seeing from the Bucks. Again, you like it or you don't like it.
Yeah.
That's up to you. For me, I love that style of it. It doesn't spoil it for me with...
Nope.
No less credible as wrestling. So, yeah, I thought it was good.
No, for sure. Great to have Laredo picking up the win, too, over Brandon Cutler in the finals there. Made sense, too, to have them going over in a trios match leading into the inevitable match between Pac and Phoenix against the Young Bucks.
Sure, and particularly since it's Brandon that they're with, right?
Yeah, it's easy for him to take the pin.
Yes.
Very, very easy for that to happen. And then they had a really good angle after this match, which I almost feel took away a little bit from... Didn't take away from the match, but it certainly had more of your focus afterwards because it was such a big moment, too, right? To have Kenny Omega kind of coming out and confronting the Bucks after their not wanting to too sweet him last week and participate in any of the new Bullet Club proceedings and that kind of stuff. Really laying into them about I came here. I had so many other options leaving Japan. We all had options. I could have gone to New York. I could have stayed in Japan where they loved me. I came here for you guys, and you chose Brandon Cutler.
Yeah,
and he feels very slighted by the Young Bucks and is
great promo.
Yeah,
because that cuts to their heart. He's supposed to be the heel in the bag of it. He's speaking nothing but truth.
Yeah. Well, then so is Dawn last week too. It really feels like it's cutting them on a different, more personal level where they're actually looking at a different side of themselves here.
I'll be honest, I felt a little, not weak. Can't think of the right word because I wasn't planning on saying it. As they left and just walked away from it, and it was like forget it.
Right.
We're just out of here. Come on, Matt, let's go. I felt like that was almost too abrupt and too easy for them to do. This should have been a little bit, and maybe they're going backstage and doing soul searching. I'm sure the BT, the next one, is going to flesh this out more. But I wanted to see more of the same confliction that was in their face and minds last week.
Right.
Last week, it's like that Dom walked away from them, really leaving them standing there going, we have changed, haven't we?
Yeah.
This week felt more like, get out of here, you, and we're just going now.
Yeah.
And maybe they can backstage, and we can see that on BTE of them accepting.
And they did that.
We aren't we? Like, we have, really.
Yeah, they played that off last week. They had a bit more of them sort of playing into this sort of, geez, was Don right kind of thing. So, yeah, it seems like the stuff Kenny and Don are saying to them is certainly cutting deep, and we'll see how that plays out.
Throw it up.
Yeah, throw it up.
Throw it up.
To the hard cam.
To the hard cam.
I will.
A little bit of that this week again.
I didn't mind that. I was going to say, mentioning the bump one, we might as well bring it up because I'm not sure exactly where it took place in the night. It must have been before the Ty Conte match, though, when we had QT Marshall. I
Yeah,
think it was
or
basically
was
next.
It was right around the
Yeah.
yes, QT's bit.
But yeah, there was a moment with QT Marshall. He'd come out kind of explaining his situation with the Nightmare family, the kind of stuff we've all kind of predicted a little bit. I don't know if I'm a little bit. I was already in a weird mindset with some of the competitors in AEW going into this from a totally different thing. I was listening to a Q&A on a different wrestling YouTube channel, and they were just throwing up random questions. One of them was just, is there anybody in these companies that you could, you've seen enough of, or you'd be fine to not see anymore? And, I had took a serious thought into AEW. I'm like, I really enjoyed the company, but who are some of the people that I've given a year and they haven't really shown me anything? And QT Marshall is top of that list. I really feel like he literally was everything in this promo. He's Cody's friend. He's just being handed a bunch of stuff. He got to team with Dustin. He got handed the Diamond Cutter, and he just don't see why it's QT. Like, why does QT get all this time? Why is he getting all this? Because he's okay, but he's even in his promo, it was all confusing. He's talking about his wife and what were you doing when you were chasing the bunny?
The promo was muddled.
It was very confusing, and then even the response from Cody was very kind of lackluster, and it was just sort of like, I'm very not looking forward to the match.
How did it become Cody and not Dustin either? Like,
yeah.
It was him and Dustin were a tag team, were having a struggle. It was him he spat at. It was him that he caused to have to leave in his battle royal by himself.
Yeah.
Him he went after the next week that caused the rest of the family coming in. This week it's Cody, my best friend, basically. Like, this is news to me. I know I don't watch every single thing you guys put out, but I did not know you guys were best friends.
Right.
So, okay. I mean, I can go along with it. I think it's going to be a good match next week. The funniest thing I thought out of the promo was when he mentioned my wife sleeping alone every night. And the camera cut back to her, and the face she was pulling was almost like, am I?
Yeah.
And I was like, were you supposed to cut to her, or was she deliberately supposed to pull that face?
Yeah.
That felt awkward, like there's going to be a conversation later between those two.
We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, no.
You are alone, honey, right?
Yeah, certainly not the hottest angle for me. We'll see where it goes. But, yeah, I don't know if I'd already just turned my brain off on QT, that seeing another one from him, I'm like, again, I just don't know where your best. Something's just about best utilization. Another person I was going to put on that list was Brandon Cutler, and it's just because he hasn't done anything to impress me beyond, like, it was a cool story he told with Peter Avalon, and that was interesting, but he doesn't have a character. He's just Brandon Cutler. I like Dungeons and Dragons, and I filmed the BTE. So it should there's just nothing else. And QT, I find, is the same way. He's just a member of the Nightmare family. He was Dustin's tag partner. He got handed the Diamond Cutter, and he's just supposed to be something, but I don't know any of his past.
Really, that makes you fine to be a top-level jobber.
Yeah.
Because you're known to the crowd. They know you. We know you got a background. We know you're a star, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Now do the job all the time and put other guys over.
Exactly.
So, and I don't know. I mean, you have to have guys like that. So if you're trying to work him into an elevated position that he's not that guy anymore, well, who are you sliding into that position? Somebody got to be your jobber.
Totally, yeah. So I little befuddling with the movement of this a little bit, but maybe they'll win me over with the match. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
What definitely won me over match-wise, though, was this women's match tonight. We had Ty Conte taking on Nyla Rose in a rematch from their women's Eliminator Tournament matchup in the first round, where Nyla Rose was able to beat Ty Conte and go all the way to the finals, to not actually win, but to definitely decimate a lot of the other women and look pretty strong doing it, beating both Britt and Thunder Rosa on the way. And then, in this rematch, Ty Conte just came out on fire. Great to see the Dark Order supporting her coming out as well, as they're just looking to bolster more friends as they're turning more and more babyface. And her judo throws were great. The aggression as she built and got more and more as she was seeing the impact that she was doing on Nyla and the wear and tear as it was getting to Nyla as well. Yeah, really great match and the perfect time to have Ty winning, I think, too. It would be not a huge, but definitely a step back if Nyla won, I think.
It would have made zero sense to have Nyla win. I mean, from the logic standpoint, I get it. You just look at it on paper, and you'd wonder why Ty took the win. You'd have to see the match to see it. And you really, I think, have to have watched the first one from the tournament for the progression of the story.
True.
Of why this did make sense that Ty could come back, because she was better this time than she was in her last match against her. She was trying harder,
been winning a bunch of
working
other
better.
stuff.
It was a better match, too. It was a better work match. But, I really liked it as well. And I hope that she's the one that... I mean, they got to start doing stuff there and shaking things up, right? We don't want to see Nyla constantly in that top spot. So
sure.
hopefully now we slide her into something else. Let Ty Conte move up the charts, and we'll see where it goes from here. But
yeah, I was a little befuddled because, with such a big win, I was so happy for her to be getting this moment and all that kind of stuff. It was all kind of muddled with the appearance of Matt Hardy's family office. Is that the name of their... It's something.
If you said it like that, I don't even... I missed it. I didn't even know they've named it.
They have some name for the faction now that it's the family... I think it's the office... something. I can't remember now, but it's weird. I'm not a huge fan of this Matt Hardy stuff. He again, I don't know if I'd already made this predetermined list of people I was kind of done with, and Matt Hardy had made that list too. He hasn't done something to be so worthy of all this time. Again, he got 2 huge slots on the show. We'll get to the second one later on, and again, I just don't know what's the angle. Is he going after Dark Order? Is he going after Darby Allin, which we were talking about? Now he's messing with Ty Conte and bringing the bunny into the mix and stuff. It's just a little bit too, either it's just not for me or it's too not straightforward enough.
They set up nicely his grouping with Private Party. Like that was a story told over several weeks. And then all of a sudden, here's Butcher and the Blade as well.
And TH2.
And they're my henchmen, except now we're a gang. Except now I'm not sure, because there is nothing conjoining these guys. There's no reasons. We haven't been given a tapestry story for why they all got together in the first place. Yeah. So it's a little bit odd. I mean, I really enjoyed the Big Money Matt character. I liked the way he's developed it, and I liked what he ended up doing with Hangman. I thought that was good, and it was a redeeming of Hardy, because I was feeling the same way about him.
It's the thing. I'm okay with some of the stuff, but the matches have been so not great. And
You're right,
Hangman
too.
one really wasn't, and it's like then they're just not utilizing him right. He should just be the voice for all these guys. Sure. And maybe you do have a match here and there, but again, maybe I'm jumping too far into the main event stuff here but bringing up Matt Hardy makes me think of that. If they were leaning towards a Darby and Matt Hardy match, I do not care.
No, I don't want to see that.
And I definitely 2 guys with a death wish,
the
and I don't care. Yeah. Like there's just I just don't, and it's just for the fact that the match quality you get out of other people, Matt Hardy's just not quite on that level, and maybe they just haven't found the person to have him play off of yet. Hangman was just so much more above. It felt like he was just carrying Matt through a match, so he just needs to, someone else to maybe bring something else out of him. And I didn't mind some of the Sammy stuff, so maybe it's just opponents and finding the right place for him here on the card. But regardless, let's jump over to this main event since we've been talking enough peripherally about it. Darby Allin did defend his TNT title against John Silver from the Dark Order.
Johnny Hungy indeed.
Hungy to get that title.
Awesome promo at the start of the night with the Dark Order when they were talking about the match coming up later. Marvez with the group, I think it was, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Yeah, it was Marvez, not Shivani. That was good. I thought the match was great. Like, Darby Allin is phenomenal talent, but Johnny looks like he could have won last night, and I'd have been perfectly happy with that as well.
Yeah, you can tell they're definitely getting behind this momentum of John Silver, and I think with it being main event, it certainly had that bit of a, maybe Johnny is going to do something huge here for them, or something else. I do have a
question about John Silver. Just something I noticed while watching the match last night. Is he a smaller statured, enormously muscular man, or is he a giant midget? Because he almost looks like he's got dwarfism, but is a giant dwarf.
Right. I mean, maybe I'd have to see it in there with Hornswoggle to maybe get a better look of that kind of stuff.
It was almost like the comparison of the way that the legs and arms looked so stocky in that build. And you're like, wait a second. Like you're a little person that's actually enormous for a little person.
No, they put on a real high energy, crazy matchup here between each other. And then, more of the peripheral things that I had trouble with. The match between the two of them was nice and solid, though. I mean, unfortunate that John got hurt, though, doing the shoulder spot to the outside. He dislocated his shoulder, took a nasty bump on the head, too. And you could definitely tell it was affecting his performance later on in the match. But I felt that at least led into the story as well, which they were telling, which was, you have the allotted 30 minutes of a TNT title match, but it's or TV time remaining kind of thing. So your time can start to wrap up on you a little bit kind of deal. So it did feel like the clock was catching up on Johnny, and he was starting to go for more and more stuff and try to put Darby away, and then a bit of a rookie move trying to go for the pin in the ropes and allowing Darby's legs to fall in.
And the way he hooked the second leg to pull it that way, it was like he pulled his legs into the position.
And
it worked so well.
Very accidental and easily done by a simple rookie mistake.
First title shot.
Yeah, just caught up in the moment.
Like that I remember my first title shot.
And then he gets so amped up and he goes for the Brody Lee tribute, and then to get reversed into the Code Red. Yeah, real great story going forward.
Yeah, I was a little bit like, when Darby won, actually. It's like,
Yeah, because it would have been quite a big moment if Silver had walked away with this title. But I think like I mentioned, the peripheral things were more my issues with this.
Agreed.
There was mention. I guess we could bring this in here too. There was mention of Sting, watching over Darby as his sort of guardian angel type deal with his matches and those kind of things going forward. And he was there as the Dark Order would maybe or maybe not be getting involved. The thing is that they're faces, so they weren't necessarily trying to stop Darby from doing anything. They were just protecting John, and I guess that was enough to cause Sting to be like, enough of that. But mentioning Sting as well, we did not talk about Lance Archer. Did have a nice video package promo talking about Sting as well, which I enjoyed earlier on in the night.
I must have missed that entirely.
Okay.
I didn't see it at all.
Lance
was one of my missing for the card guys.
Yeah, back at his the Lance Archer compound or whatever. I think if they're going to do another cinematic thing with Sting, that's the perfect place to go, like where he was beating up all those jobbers in those early Lance Archer vignettes. If they do a Sting match out there, I think that'd be great. But it was just, once again, putting over the, I wouldn't be here without Sting, like some of the other guys who, look up to you and that kind of stuff. But it's my time now. It's all about time. Time.
The other promo, actually, if the Team Taz did a promo earlier in the night to kind of keep that friction alive between Brian Cage and the rest of the group, that was very much highlighted that Brian standing off to the side, rolling his eyes, an awful lot of everything Taz had to say.
A lot of visuals.
Especially he apologized specifically to Ricky. Like, I did? I don't... Whatever, Taz. Like, it was great. So I love what's coming there.
No, there's definitely some real tension there, and I think, especially with him holding the FTW title, and then if it's all the rest of the gang trying to get it back.
Taz gonna be mad. He gave that belt to the man.
Oh, yeah, gave it to the wrong guy.
Heart.
So
it's gonna be heartbreaking. Taz watching those tears roll that night is gonna be sad.
Oh yeah, it'll be sad for sure. But yes, as we had mentioned, Darby Allin got the victory here. Sting though congratulating Silver, picking him up in the ring as him and Darby bumped fists, and then a whole big sort of felt like a go home show to a pay per view or something like that, because we had a huge brawl breakout as Matt Hardy once again showed up with his crew of guys. And this just adds into what I was saying before, where I'm a little befuddled as to where is he focusing on the Dark Order. Like, he was so animate that it's Hangman and the Dark Order. They took my money, they took all, and that's who I'm going after, and that's why I need this crew.
Yeah.
Well, then why were you interfering the bunny with Ty Conte? Why were you going after Darby in this situation? Shouldn't you just be focusing on the Dark Order? It just, I need some focus from Mr. Matt.
Very confusing. And why would you wait till the end of the match and then jump in and attack? If you want to hurt the team,
they were there all night.
Block him while he was in the middle of his match and screw him out of his championship opportunity, etc. It didn't make sense. It just looked like a reason to get. We've got Sting standing here. We've got all the Dark Order guys standing here. Well, I want to see a schmoz fest. Let's set it off.
Might as well have a reason when they all came out here. Yeah, so a little bit of a weak ending, unfortunate for such a great matchup. But they can't all be 5-star Dynamites, right?
They cannot be, sadly.
I think that about wraps things up, though, for this episode of Low Blow Radio. Anything else you want to discuss?
I don't think so.
Perfect. All right. Well, we'll be back with more videos and more stuff here on Low Blow Radio.
Adios, amigos.